Wow, you look like you're a nervous cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Hi, everybody. It's your old pal Nerdity Absurdity here, coming at you today with another action figure versus. Today, we're taking a look at a couple of older figures, but just wanted to do a point of compare between two different versions of two different characters that go well together. They're often paired as a romantic couple in the X-Men. So we're looking at Rogues and Gambits today. We're looking at both the retro Rogue and Gambit, and this is Juggernaut Wave Rogue, and this is Caliban Wave Gambit. They're both similar but different. So let's take a look. Yeah, there are rogues. Again, similar but different looking. You can tell body molds are basically this. They are the same body mold, same articulation, same jackets, everything. Even the same kind of points where the pigmentation is on the figures. The most obvious differences are the coloration and the head sculpts. But let's take a look at the accessories first. They both come with fisted hands. They're the exact same fisted hands. The only difference is the color of Retro Rogue's fists are lemon yellow as opposed to this more gold color that's on the Juggernaut Wave Rogue. She comes with the fisted hand. Juggernaut Rogue also comes with this open hand here, and you can see it's more of a grasping hand. But here on Retro Rogue, we have more of a, it's got more of a touch quality, and I gotta say, I like the sculpt here better. It really looks like she's gonna touch somebody with her lethal rogue touch. This is more like grabbing at something. So I kind of like that attention to detail. She also comes with this lovely glove removing hand. You can see there. That's very nice. That really kind of gives the effect. She's taking off her glove and she's executing her powers. That's how I have her displayed there. So yeah, you can see same things on all the figures. You can see these cuffs have wiggled down, but you can wiggle that back into place. They articulate the same. Again, it's the same sculpt with even things down to the belts are the same. You got the same thigh cuts. I'm not really going to go over articulation. This is, I believe, the Moon Knight body mold. And where's that, Moon Knight? Or no, it's not. Wouldn't be Moon Knight. What would it be? Moon Dragon. Anyway, it's this body mold they have on all the figures. The kind of weird one where you can see the sculpt of the belly button in the female figure. How tight? I know it's a skin tight suit, but I mean, how skin tight is that? That's a little weird. It's Marvel Legends. It's reuse, but here you get a really good sense of just the coloration on these figures. Got a much deeper kind of gold going on here and much lighter lemon yellow on this rogue. This rogue's got the gray wisps in her hair. Very, very different head sculpts. I'll go over that after. Just wanted to take a look at this coloration a little bit more. You got a little bit more of a metallic on Juggy over here. Just a little bit more going on there. And this is just kind of a straight green. But, same things, same cuff at the boots, same these bands that are hiding the articulation. Most of it is exactly the same. I think even we even got the X-Men logo. Yeah, different paint for the X-Men logos, but same place on these bodies. So we see here, Rogues is painted in black, which I guess is how it was in the X-Men comic, and here it's just red. Obviously darker. This is generally a darker Rogue. You got kind of a darker brown there than this, and this is supposed to be kind of an animated series Rogue, so her colors pop a little bit more. Let's take a look at the head sculpts. So that's the main difference we got going on here, and yeah, these heads are quite different. They give you a quite different interpretation of this character. I can't really tell you what Juggy, what comic it's based on, but you can see the sculpt of the band. It looks kind of the same, but the hair is different. Here we have her hair brushing up over her face, and it's kind of twirling around. It's almost in this like statuesque dynamic pose here where the hair is sweeping off in one direction. It's almost being blown by the wind, or she's running or something like that. Where this, you get the full 80s glory rogue hair, just like it is in the animated series. Again, you're not getting any kind of coloration or washes like you're getting with this hair, more so with the kind of gray in the top portion there. But yeah, she's got a big old head of hair. It's a nice sculpt. I like it. It looks very rogue. Faces are very different too. And yeah, I gotta be honest. When I originally I picked her up first, and I looked at the two figures, and I found this one being sold somewhere. I think she was going for like, I think I got her for like 40 or something like that, $40 Canadian, something like that, used aftermarket. But I went for her because I liked, even though she's not my typical rogue, this was more of the look of the rogue. Initially, I liked her face better. You get it's kind of a softer, it's more of a neutral design. I was okay with the hair blowing back and things like that. I kind of liked the metallics on it, but I mean, mostly it was the face. I'm like, I like this kind of more neutral, bit softer look to the character. But then when I saw her at a convention, just, oh man, she's right out of the animated series. This is your animated series classic Rogue. I like things like that. She pops a lot, like the blush on the cheeks, very clearly defined. This Rogue, looking at her, yeah, she's softer, but also her eyes also look a little bit wide apart. Um, Not like that people would never look like this. It looks a little atypical. Really nice profile, gotta say. They both have nice profile now that I think about it. Hey, how are you doing? I'm good. How are you? But yeah, maybe catching in the light there, you can kind of see. Yeah, a bit darker. This one's just a bit darker overall, kind of darker greens and yellows, darker skin tone. Even the white in the hair is darker. So that's really what you're getting with these two characters. Have the same kind of articulation problems of that a lot of female characters do, where bodies are smaller, so things don't have as much articulation, or especially with Miss Huge Head of Hair here, little bit top heavy with that huge head of hair and the tiny legs. These legs I find really stiff too. You notice no boot cut. Would have been nice, as she's actually wearing boots. No boot cut on either of them, but these are kind of, I get worried. Like they slide around nice, but in terms of trying to get them, they don't go forward. But in terms of trying to get them to go back, see, I pointed it back just there, but it's a little bit stiff. It's like the plastic feels like it's going to chew. Oh, I even worry about just doing it, getting it back. And oh, yeah, it's just, I feel like I'm going to break it every time I do that. So there are problems with, again, these are problems you're getting with both figures because it's the same body mold. Your real differences are the coloring, the head sculpt, and the extra accessories. For my money, this Rogue is killing it with both the ungloved hand and this kind of touching pose for the hand. And yeah, originally I liked her better, but this one, yeah, I think has come to be my Rogue. I think she's come to be my Rogue ever since I saw her at a convention. It was just like, wow, that looks good. She looks a lot better in person. She's looking good on camera, but often when I see still images of her, just it kind of accentuate, for whatever reason, a lot of the photography accentuates all of the hard features of the character, but you miss a lot of the kind of soft feminine features. And Rogue is a sassy southern gal, a little bit vivacious, so you personally want a little bit of that in her. But yeah, no, yeah, you can see she looks, and in person she looks like this too. It's not as bad. It looks a little bit worse on camera, I think, but she looks a little bit wide-eyed for my taste. And yeah, it just I just kind of prefer this Rogue overall. But let's take a look at our Caliban Wave Gambit and our Retro Gambit. So they're in the back here. So let's start off. So these are what they look like, kind of up close. Yeah, and very similar story. where we get a huge color difference right off the bat. Um, Retro is brighter, pops a lot. Even the colors on the pants and things like that, you can see a lot darker on this figure than they are on this figure. And yeah, it's just one is just a more colorful interpretation of the character. Um, in terms of accessories, they come with the same but different accessories overall. They come with two of the, or three, I should say, of the same sets of hands. So they come with these throwing card hand over there, and they come with this kind of grasping hand, which you can use to grasp the pole. They both come with a pole that's virtually the same color, so I'm not really going to do a comparison. I think the one on this figure is actually a little bit darker. Oddly, this figure has a bit lighter pole. I don't really know. I kind of use them interchangeably, and they have this card grasping hand where he's got it like that, and I had the card just slotted in between those fingers like that. You can also put them in the pole grabbing hand. I've done that with this Gambit. Will hold the cards. But let's look at those card throwing hands. Yeah, you can see a big difference off the bat here. One is this is a much deeper pink, and two is the fact that these cards are actually drawn in there. You can actually see the symbols of the cards there, which makes it kind of a more dynamic accessory. And it's the same with this card here. It's in that hand there. The other card, as you can see, just pink. Maybe you prefer that. Maybe you prefer it where the card that he's throwing is just glowing. It kind of looks more like it does when it's supercharged with that energy that he supercharges it with. But for my money, it just looks like a bigger accessory. I feel like, look at how that pops. Even like this guy's even blocking him. Look at how much that pops in comparison to that card. I just think that's a better pose. Get that flipped around there. I will say they don't like. I like that you can hold the cards in both hands. They do tend to pop off. When you put them there, they will stay kind of posed, the cards, the loose cards there. But, you know, if you bump them, if you're posing them around, if you're moving another figure next to them, and you bump it accidentally, it'll just pop off. And they're small and easy to lose, so that's part of it. This Gambit can hold a pole in either hand, because he's got that extra hand that'll do that. I want to compare these hands very quickly. These are different hands, but just to kind of show the coloration. Yeah, so Retro's got Retro has a more blue coloring to the hand, to the glove, and Caliban has a black coloring. Again, they've just kind of made these colors lighter on Retro. But yeah, let's take a look at them. And yeah, you can really see the color differences between the two. It's a lot lighter on the Retro figure. The lightness in the brown of the coat, exact same design for all of this. It's same design for the collar, for the boots, for everything. It's just the coloring is a lot different. This guy looks like he's got a little bit more. Does he got a little bit of stubble going on there? Let's take a look. Yeah, he looks like he's got a bit of stubble in the face. I don't think this Gambit does. Oh, there's a little bit of a paint defect on the chin. I'm guessing that's coming from me moving him around so much. There's also a little bit of a paint smudge there because I haven't noticed that before, so it's probably me just playing with him has done that. But yeah, let's take a look at these heads side by side. Slight differences at the head. Basically, it's the same sculpt. It is the same sculpt except for the hair. So this hair is kind of swooshing out the top just to one side, and this hair is, again, more like it is in the cartoon where it's going all over the top of his head. Again, these two figures love their swooshing hair, love their hair blowing in the breeze like that. Don't know why that is, but that's just the way they're sculpted. I do like that design, honestly. And this is another interesting thing. So I got the this is another instance of where I got the darker figure first. He uh I was trying to save shipping on a purchase, and he was $20 Canadian on a sale at a store, which is pretty good. Pretty good for a figure that could retail easily at like 30. So I picked him up, $20 Canadian. Again, I'm not going to go over the articulation because it's the exact same thing with both of these figures. They just kind of have standard articulation, double joints in the knees and things like that. Does have a boot cut, but they, limited articulation more so in the hands, single jointed elbows and things like that, peg wrists, up and down head. You get attitude? Not really, but you can swirl them around there. That one's feeling very kind of loose. I kind of like that. Waist cut, upper thigh cut. It's black, so it's nicely hidden. And yeah, the same kind of janky, weird feet. These are a lot looser, though, than the Rogues, so I'm not less worried about, maybe because I played around with this one standing more. The Rogue's feet I don't touch so much because it's hard to... He stands pretty well. Also, he can almost kind of lean back. See, he's kind of sitting there on his cape. There are moments where if you want to get him into a crouch, either figure, they'll kind of lean back on the trench coat there. So that's nice. I feel like it gives it a little bit of ballast. I feel like these are easier to pose than the easier to get standing than the Rogues. Again, female figures trouble standing a lot of the time. Smaller legs or smaller feet or top heavy because of hair. But yeah, I got to save money on shipping, and I thought this is going to be my gambit. But then, honestly, I got these accessories with I thought they were going to be painted because I had seen it. I didn't really know too much. I had just started collecting. I didn't really know the differences between the figures. I'm just like, oh, hey, it's a gambit. And I thought they were going to be painted because I'd seen images of that before, and I was a little disappointed. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that's just my gambit. But then, same convention, I saw that other retro Rogue, saw him. I think he was only like $25. Honestly, only a $5 difference. Might have even ended up really being the same after tax with these two. But yeah, again, it's a similar case to the other one. Just he is the animated series figure. Same looseness in the head joints. Not as loose with the feet, but it's a different figure. But he, yeah, I like the colors on this better. It's the animated series which I grew up with and introduced me really to the X-Men, and that I still love. Just those designs, that great kind of style. The colors just pop more on the shelf. These dark colors are cool, though. I gotta say, it is cool and it does look good. But really, I think it's going to come down to which of these two sets of figures you like. I really think it's going to come down to just your preference. Do you want something that looks a little bit grittier? Do you want something that looks a little bit darker, where the metallics are, kind of burnt in like that? Is that what you're going for? Then really that's what you're going to decide between. Does this accessory, does the detail on the card throwing accessory that comes with this figure, does that make it worth it? Does the extra hand make it worth it? The big thing is, I don't really think again, same face, really different haircut with this figure. I don't really think that's going to be anybody's deciding factor. But these two have very different looks, very different heads overall. With these two, I can see it being kind of more of a draw between people. But my picks, honestly, if I could only keep two, would be the retro ones over here. Just, I like the colors better. I liked the sculpt on this head better. I like the accessories on both better. They both come with more, and there's more personality. I'm a big personality guy. I like personality in my figures. They have a lot of personality when it comes to the sculpt, even little details like the way the hand is posed there, so it's more touching, things like that. I like that. I'm about that. You can find these figures for fairly cheap now. I often find going for like $40 Canadian on sites. I've seen him as low as 20. That's pretty good. Honestly, new from a box store, he'd be going for 30. Not really seeing him anymore. And with those cell shaded figures coming out, maybe you want to pair them with your collection. Even I've seen, I think, a couple times going for like 20 still. She can go for more. She can command more. I don't know. Something about that Juggernaut wave. She's older. She's a bit rarer, things like that. But I honestly think that's the better figure. I really do. There are subtle changes, but they're enough where if I had to pick between just one, I would just get that one. The Caliban and Juggernaut wave, just really dark. I think that's really all it is. They're a lot darker colors, so they don't pop as much. Where these guys look like they walked out of a comic book or walked out of that amazing, awesome animated series. I like bright colors on my X-Men. Like in that, there's that line that Scott has in that first X-Men movie. What did you expect? Yellow spandex? I'm like, yes. I would love to see Wolverine in yellow spandex. I hope they do that when they bring him back for the Deadpool movie, or when they do it with the MCU when they get the X-Men in there, whatever they're doing. So I really want to see that. For me, X-Men are bright, gaudy, popping colors because they're mutants, right? They're others. They should look to reflect that. That's always kind of what I thought their costumes were. We're just like, oh, this is how we express ourselves. We don't dress like regular people. That's kind of my headcanon for how that came about. It's just like, oh, this is our mutant identity. This is who we are. Yeah, that's the review of these figures. They're all good, but my money would definitely go towards the retro figures as opposed to the Caliban Wave and Juggernaut Wave renditions of these figures. Okay, that's all for me. So thank you for watching, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so and you like what's going on here. Hit that notification bell to be notified of when I post another review. And remember to be kind, and I'll see y'all later. Bye. Look at that rogue butt. Look at that rogue butt. Look at that rogue butt. Look at that rogue butt.